So I made a video a couple weeks ago. It was a reaction to a Jubilee video, and it actually got the attention of someone that was in the Jubilee video. They left several comments, and rather than jumping into the comment section and addressing them back and forth with comments, I decided to just make a video going over each individual point and addressing them that way. I tried to, for the most part, I stay out of comments just because I've jumped in before and it doesn't typically end up being productive. But, yeah. So, this gentleman's name is Gilbert Gonzalez, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, Gilbert Gonzalez. He has a YouTube channel, and he was on the Jubilee video, and he did not like what I said in my video reacting to that. But we're going to go through and respond. So there are several comments from him, and we're going to go through those. There's a back and forth he actually had with somebody else that had watched the channel that agreed, as far as I could tell, agreed with what I was saying. And I want to go over that because there's some, I think the individual that he was arguing with made some really good points, and I think stopped the conversation because he brought up something that I don't think Gilbert knew how to address. And then there's one other comment I want to, that didn't really have anything to do with either side, but I do want to address something in that. So we will jump straight in. I will pull up the comments on the screen here. I'll stay down in the corner, drink my coffee. I'm going to read through what he put in sections because I want to address them kind of in sections. So first, and I may have pulled these out of order. It was kind of hard to tell with how they started, what was first, and yeah, so we'll just go through these. I don't think it matters if we change the order that they show up in all that much. So yeah, we will just dive in. This first one, he says, and yes, I brought up 1 Corinthians 13. Also, I'm not in the alphabet mafia. I'm not a liberal. That was a presumption. I'm actually right of center politically. I'm not woke, and you would know that if you got to know me instead of making assumptions because of the way God designed me. And yes, I do know what love is. I know agape love. I know storge love. I know philius love. And I know eros love, even though I was a virgin till I was 40. I want to stop there. So I didn't go back and watch my video to see what terminology I used because I don't think it really matters. Typically, I will say with a lot of things like this, I try to be very careful in the terminology that I use to avoid misunderstandings and misrepresentations. But typically the language that I would use would be I would say that someone is a liberal Christian or a progressive Christian. I think it goes without saying, if you're watching a video like this, that I'm talking about theology. I don't think that should be a necessary thing to throw out there, but nevertheless, here I am explaining it. For this video, and I would say even the vast majority of my videos, I'm not talking about politics. I do have some where I do, and I make it clear when I'm talking about politics that that's what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about theology, and so when I say that someone is liberal or progressive, I am talking theologically liberal or theologically progressive. Alphabet mafia is just a term for that community. Basically, I'm not going to spend the time to try to remember all the different add-ons to that. So, yeah. So no, it has nothing to do with a political view or political leaning. For the sake of what the original video was, and then this video, I don't really care what your political leaning is. I'm talking theologically. Now, I will say, typically, from my experience, there's a large kind of overlap between someone who is politically progressive or liberal and theologically progressive or liberal. It's not 100%. There are some people that will maybe be progressively Christian, but they won't be progressively liberal, or they won't be completely. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I think far more often than not, that is the case, that there's a lot of overlap. So that's neither here nor there. I wasn't talking about politically. I was talking theologically. Now, the next point he makes in that first paragraph is about love. I'm sure you know what, as you demonstrated in the comment, what the Greek words are. And I'm sure that you do know what some love is. I'm not saying that you've never experienced love. What I'm saying, and I get at this in my Fruit of the Spirit video, the video on love, I don't think that you know what agape love is. Not like true agape love. And my reason for saying that is I don't think it's possible to know what agape love is without being a born-again believer, being filled with the Holy Spirit. And I have trouble seeing someone who is blatantly accepting and unrepentant of sin being a born-again believer. So that's where I stand on that. I'm not changing what I said in the video. I'm not changing where I fall in my thinking of that. I have no ill will towards you, but that's where I'm standing on that, and I'm not changing my stance there. I don't think that you fully grasp what that is, because I don't think you can without being a born again believer. So next paragraph on his, or little, no, my love is not unrighteous. You do not understand same-sex orientation. I feel about other men the same way you feel about women. Sure, I can lust, I'm human, but I can also love another man in ways you cannot, because I'm designed differently than you. Also, I cannot love a woman the way you can, because I'm not wired that way. I don't know another way to put this, so I'll just say it bluntly. Yes, your love is unrighteous. You claim to be a Christian, but definitionally, the love you're talking about is, as it's quoted in Scripture, an abomination to God. That is about as clear as it can be. It's really difficult, or it's really not difficult to understand same-sex orientation. I know you said in there that I need to. I don't understand it. It's pretty simple. There's a physical attraction to the same sex. It's just like physical attraction to the opposite, except it's to the same. It's not a difficult thing to understand. And here's where I would say the love that you're experiencing is eros, which again I talk about in the Fruit of the Spirit love video. So I'm not gonna dissect that a whole lot right now. I've already done that. Now I'll read the next two. You have lots to learn about what it means for someone to be gay. It is the way you are wired pre-birth. It doesn't change. And lying about it by calling yourself ex-gay is a sin. Okay, we'll stop there, and I'll read the next two together. So, like I said, there really isn't anything to learn. It's a pretty straightforward concept. Now, as far as the pre-birth or not, I know a lot of Christians will get really hung up on this. I won't, because I don't think it matters. I will grant, for the sake of this argument, that it is pre-birth. That's how you were born, and it's not just because of societal pressures or experiences or something specific experience you had or anything like that. Like it is 100% just you were born this way, you're wired that way from birth. That's what it is. I'll grant that for the sake of argument. That changes nothing. Literally changes nothing. So, look at me. I am a heterosexual man. I was born that way. And according to your same logic, I was wired that way pre-birth. I would agree. My nature is to want to be with multiple women. That's sin. Just because that's my human nature doesn't make it okay. Anything outside of me and my wife is wrong. If I wasn't married, which I will state here, marriage is one man, one woman, regardless of what the government says. That's it. Anything outside of that is sin. Period. End of story. So, just because you may have a desire for it, or you may, like I said, I will grant for this, and I don't really have a hard stance either way, because like I said, I don't think it matters. But let's say yes, you were born that way. You can't do anything to change it. That doesn't change whether or not it is okay. Has literally no bearing on it whatsoever. Next, you said that calling yourself ex-gay is a sin. I would love to see your scriptural backing for that. I have no idea where you could be pulling that from. So, if you watch this, feel free to comment or message me on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, whatever. I am down to have conversations. And like I said, I don't dislike Gilbert. If you're watching this, I don't dislike you. I do think from what I saw, you did come across kind of aggressive and abrasive, but this is a topic I think that kind of breeds some of that on both sides. Hey, I hope you're liking this so far. I just want to take a minute to remind you to subscribe if you're not already. Hit the like button and maybe share this with somebody you think could benefit from it. All that really helps the algorithm, helps boost this video and this channel to reach more people. Also want to say to take a minute and check the links in the descriptions where you can connect with us and also sign up for the newsletter so you don't miss anything. We also have some special deals, people that we partnered with, where you can actually get stuff at a discounted rate that will help you grow deeper in your faith. Okay. The next, mostly though, I would caution you not to label people as on the left just because they are honest about how God made them. Gay independents, gay conservatives, and gay moderates totally exist. I agree, 100%. Just being of a certain orientation does not mean you're going to automatically line up one way or another politically. No, I'm not twisting Scripture. I'm actually more accurately representing Scripture. Also, making another assumption, I am a progressive Christian. Okay, you are a progressive Christian. If you don't want that title, don't align with progressive Christian theology. The idea that same-sex relationships are not sinful is a distinctly progressive Christian view. Period. That is not at all an Orthodox Christian view. Not even remotely. So that is definitionally a progressive Christian view. That was the first comment. We're 15 minutes in. So let's look at the next one. Okay. This is a fun one. So, he said, at 48:22, I think the prompt was too vague. He's quoting me here. He said, this is disappointing. This shows a lack of integrity and proves that the very agenda you claim about gay people, you are admitting Christians have or are supposed to have, and there is no integrity in that. I got kind of lost in what he's trying to say there. The point of middle ground is not to advance preconceived narratives, but to step forward honestly and ethically on topics that you fully agree with as it is written. It's interesting that you would advocate for taking the Bible literally, but be willing to be dishonest about these prompts by stepping forward unethically because there wasn't enough in the prompt to, quote-unquote, sell your narrative as a Christian. I find that totally dishonest and unethical, and this is putting the topic of homosexuality aside. This is just Christian ethics about integrity and honesty. If you agree with the prompt, exactly as it is written, walk forward. If you don't, stay where you are and don't walk forward. Period. Okay. I completely stand by my statement that the prompt was too vague. Mainly because the prompt was too vague. The statement was, LGBT people won't go to heaven. I don't know what they mean by LGBT people. And I think different people would take that statement differently. Do they mean exclusively people who identify as that currently and in same-sex relationships? Do they mean people who have that attraction but choose not to engage in that behavior because they know that is detestable to God? What do you mean by that? And I touched on this in the video. I explained what I was saying. So, what do you mean? Like, that is too vague. I think they mean people that have desires, but I know people who would read that. I personally know people who would read that and take it different ways. So, I wasn't there in the moment, but I paused the video. I said why I thought it was too vague, and then I said that I would have stepped forward because I think I know how they mean it. So, the statement was not clear, and that is the point I was making. That's why I also said, because I believe they meant the first way I outlined, I would walk forward. How is that unethical? That I say a statement should be more clear. How is there not integrity in that? There's literally no point being made here. It seems to me you're attempting to create an ethical issue out of me stating that a prompt was too vague. And I don't see a way that can be an ethical issue. I think that they should provide more clarity so that I can more accurately represent what I actually think. But yeah. Okay. Next comment. The dude in the gray shirt is making accurate points. That was at 49:33 in my video. And he said, seriously, and you admitted that you didn't even watch the video. I did, because I'm talking about theology. And there's only 2 questions, I think, that really had much to do with theology. That is what so many Christians do, and they embarrass themselves and God and the faith. Had you watched the video, you would have known that Abigail is intersex. She was born with both male and female characteristics, chromosomes, and genitalia. Nothing that Rashad, the guy in the gray shirt, said was accurate at all. He spoke like someone who had no comprehension of anything that was going on around him. It was outrageously nonsensical. I think you did a huge disservice to yourself and to the Christian faith posting this video. But more importantly, the process in which you reacted to it by paying attention to nothing that would give you something genuine and credible to say. Okay, so I didn't watch the entire video because, like I said, there's only 2 questions that had anything to do with theology or Christian views that I saw, and I reacted to those 2 questions. I'm not going to go out of my way to look at and address things that don't have anything to do with the content that I'm making. Where was I? Okay. Abigail, being intersex, is entirely different than being trans. So how exactly could someone be to blame for a physical trait that they have no control over? The situation that you're talking about with Abigail, she was born with both. Okay, then I'm not talking about her. Period. Now, I don't remember exactly what things in with Rashad was saying. I do think I remember after the fact he said something about he made a blanket statement that no, she's not going to go to heaven. And then it brought up, which that was the first time that I saw it. Probably wasn't the first time that Rashad saw it. But then she brought up that she was born with both. Okay, I'm not talking about that. It's, again, pretty straightforward. So I paid attention to the entirety of the conversations around the 2 questions that are relevant to the content that I am making, and not the rest of it. That's it. That's it. Okay. Now, and this is the last comment of his that I'll address firsthand. After this, we'll go look at interchange he had with another commenter. So at 1 hour, 1 minute, 32 seconds, he's making an appeal to authority. And Gilbert said, "No, I'm not. If you would listen before you spoke, you would understand that I am saying you can follow the journey in the documentary of Luther Weigel, the very man that first put the word homosexual in the Bible, and how he decided that he had made a mistake and tried to correct it. The word homosexual for the Greek arsenokoitai was not accurate for several reasons. One, the word homosexual would include lesbians. Arsenokoitai means men only. Secondly, it was a list of exploitive sins. I can't talk. It's like 2 a.m. Other translations understood that it had nothing to do with the conduct of relationship at all. That has nothing to do with an argument of authority. It's a documentation of something that actually happened and an admitted mistranslation. That's what I'm telling Sam and now you to go and witness for yourselves. You really should be slow to speak, sir." Okay. That was an appeal to authority. As you started building this case, you were building up and boasting this person's credentials and what they did in this process. You're using the word and experience of this expert to back up what you were saying. Now, admittedly, I've not seen this documentary. I said that in this video, but I'm also not going to spend time watching it because it's not needed, necessary, or relevant. Here's why. Let's say this was a mistranslation. Let's say the documentary is accurate and what's his name? Luther Weigel. Let's say that he said he mistranslated this. Okay, well, how about all the other translations? Now, I've looked a good deal into the process of translations, and it's almost as if you're thinking that all other translations that we have look at that translation that was made, and then they just update the English. But that's not how translations happen. It's not. They go to the original text. There's usually teams of people. If it's done correctly, there will be teams of people looking through that text, deciding together the best way to translate that. There are accuracies to varying degrees, but if it was a mistranslation, then why do all other translations, all other teams that translated this, why do all of them translate it like God is condemning this behavior? His Luther Weigel's opinion, I'm saying Weigel, it's Weigle. I think he's German, so I think that would be the correct pronunciation. It looks like a German name anyways. His opinion is just that. It's an opinion. It's not necessarily fact. It is an opinion. And the fact that vast majority of church history and vast majority of other translations disagree with him, I'm going to need some pretty compelling evidence. We can look up the original word and the context of those passages and very clearly see that it is condemning homosexuality. And let's do, I didn't actually plan to do this, but let's do that. Okay, so this is Blue Letter Bible. It's a great free resource. So this is the word arsenokoites. Arsenokoites, I think is how you pronounce it. Let's see. So, Thayer's Greek lexicon. One who lies with a male as with a female. Outline of biblical usage. One who lies with a male as with a female. Sodomite. Homosexual. Strong's info. Let's see. A sodomite. Abuser of self with mankind. Yeah, so there really isn't much else to look at with it. So it's pretty straightforward. And we will actually touch on this a little bit again. He made the comment, and in his comment, let's look and see. He said, right here, it's not accurate for several reasons. One, the word homosexual would include lesbians. Arsenokoitai means men only. So he's making an argument here that it can't mean that because lesbians aren't condemned. Well, here's the thing. He got into a back and forth with somebody else in the comment section. I'm not going to go through all of them because they have several lengthy messages. I want to focus mainly down at the end. So we see he has a lengthy, and if you want to read that, you can go to the video and look at the comments. They're all still up there. The only way that I remove comments is if it is just like really vulgar, which I do get some. Usually they're caught by the filter. YouTube has an automatic like censor thing you can turn on, and most of them are caught by that. There's only been like 1 or 2 comments, I think, in the over a year I've been doing this where I've actually deleted the comment myself. So anyways, so this individual said the Bible explicitly forbids women lying with women and men lying with men. So your argument of consensual, loving relationship of same-sex couples is irrelevant. Gilbert said, show me a verse that says women shall not lie with women. So let's say, if he's right, if there's no verse that's there, that still condemns men with men. And I think that is a strong indication that women with women would also be condemned, even if the Bible didn't explicitly say it. Does the Bible explicitly say it? Well, my boy, and he's not really my boy, I don't know him, but he pulls up here. I'm going to see if I can move myself. Hold on. Okay, there. So he says, Romans 1:26-27, which says, because of this, God gave them over to their shameful lusts. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received themselves in due penalty for their perversion. So the Bible does say that it's wrong. So looky there. Now, I don't think you're actually going to watch this. If you do, I don't think you're going to really care about what I'm saying. I know you don't think that you're in the wrong, but I genuinely pray that your eyes are opened. I fear for you. I know that doesn't mean much to you or anything to you, but I do genuinely fear for you because I fear that you are on a path that is leading to destruction and you have no idea. I wish I could say that wasn't the case. I wish I could say that I was wrong. But I do not see any indication in Scripture at all that I am on this topic. I'm not right on everything. I know I'm not right on everything. I've changed my mind on stuff even within the last year or two. But I genuinely pray that your eyes are opened and that you have a change of heart on this. Now there's one other comment I want to look at. This was actually the first comment that I got on this video. It popped up. Let me see. Okay, it's this very bottom comment. Now this comes because there's a comment made in the video I was reacting to where somebody, I think it was Rashad, made the comment that homosexuality is always demonic. It's just demonic. And I said I don't agree with that because I think that is too much of a blanket statement. I think it can be, but I don't agree with the statement that it just is. It always is. Now this comment says, The trans community are victims in a lot of sense. For that reason, a large percentage will go to heaven, in my opinion. They are being misled, misguided, and abused, especially children whose parents, schools, pharma therapists, and doctors are pushing this agenda. I do think there are demons involved, and those demons will likely jump to the next generation when they pass. So, I would say generally I agree with what is being said here. I do think, especially today's culture, there's a large number of people who identify that way that are victims. I would even say the vast majority are victims. And I think it is something that definitely needs some nuance. I don't think you can just throw a blanket statement out there and say, this is always this. I also think there can be demons involved with some of this. But I don't agree with the idea that it is always demonic and only demonic. I think we need to have more nuance when we have these types of discussions. So, appreciate everyone watching to the end. God bless. Hey, thanks for watching all the way through to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any of the new content we have coming out. If you look over here, you will see some other videos that YouTube may think that you would like as well. So thanks. God bless.